Hey guys, welcome back to the newest episode of the Philippines Video Breakdown. And today, we're gonna be going over everything that we did in Coron and El Nido. If you guys haven't seen the full Philippines travel documentary that I made quite some time ago, I'll put the link down below. And this is sort of like a continuation of that video. So if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend that you watch it. If you remember in the last one of our nights in Coron was sacrificed because one of our connecting flights was canceled, so we had to spend one of those nights in Cebu. So we woke up bright and early in Cebu, and then we flew directly to Coron. So basically, Palawan is a province that's sort of to the east of the Philippines. It's a massive strip. El Nido and Coron are to the very north of Palawan. There's other places that you can visit like Port Barton, Puerto Princesa, and even to the south, Balabac, which is still in development. And right off the bat, we immediately saw that Coron was much more dry and just as beautiful as the other places that we went to. So we booked an Airbnb through Bali Huts. Now Bali Huts is basically this set of huts that you can reserve, and they're all connected in this bay. Each hut has a downstairs and an upstairs with bedrooms, and downstairs where you have your own staff that cooks you meals every single day. And not just that, but you have a view that's second to none. I mean, it's incredible. There's even a crashed plane that's like from World War II or something, and it's just hanging out there. You can even like paddleboard up to it and you can check it out. It was pretty cool. So then we drove all the way into town. We hopped on a boat and went straight for Coron Island. Now, Coron Island is a place that has a lot of rock formations. I didn't know too much about it, but it's the place where you can go island hopping. And as soon as we approached Coron Island, and as soon as we entered those rock formations, I mean, it opened up and it just blew me away with how massive everything was. I mean, the rock formations, the vegetation, it all honestly reminded me of Pandora from Avatar. And the water was crystal clear, and there were even some pockets in there where the water was actually fresh. And so it wasn't even salt water at all, which was super, super trippy. And this was the first time in my entire life that I really saw something like this. It was just incredible. And it was so funny because since we had our own private experience, we were either arriving at these places at the exact moment all the other tours were leaving, or we arrived like 30 minutes before they were arriving. So we had these places basically to ourselves. So we basically had 3 locations that we visited in the island hopping experience. And there was Cauayan Lake, Sunset Beach, and the Hidden Lagoon. So after our island hopping experience was over, we went straight back to the Airbnb, where the Airbnb actually cooked us dinner. They made us, drinks, they made us this halibut, which was incredible, which was actually caught that day. And it was absolutely delicious. After our night in Coron was over, we hopped on a plane straight to El Nido. Now, El Nido is right next to Coron, and what we immediately noticed is that El Nido is very similar to Coron in a sense that it's a little bit drier than the other places like Siargao and Cebu. There's a lot more jungle environments there. What we also noticed is that El Nido has a lot of tourists, but it's not like a way that's like, oh, look at all these tourists. It's more of like an inviting way, like they all come and talk to you, like they're all congregating, and they all go on adventures together. So we stayed in El Nido at this place called Frendz Hostel. Now, Frendz Hostel was a one-of-a-kind experience. I honestly don't know what I was expecting from a hostel. I hear a lot of experiences from hostels like they're dirty and there's a lot of creeps there, but once we arrived there, we saw it almost felt like a hotel. There were multiple floors, and then you walk in, everything's just so clean. There's a bar right there, and there's chairs, and there's people everywhere just congregating. They even have a rooftop bar that has a pool that overlooks all of El Nido and where you can see one of the best sunsets like ever. And also every night at that rooftop bar they have events like karaoke, trivia, you name it, and it's a wonderful experience. They have ping pong tables, they have a pool table. It's all focused around people meeting each other and going on spontaneous adventures. So we stayed in El Nido and we partied for the night, and it was a great experience. They had a full moon party, and I think it was there where we met like so many people. We met people from Israel, Belgium, Toronto. We met people from Paris, Spain. We met people from Germany, England. I mean, so many places around the world. Like even for the next day, we had a few friends that we met the night before who were from Germany, and they joined us on our journeys to 2 beaches. And so basically the next day we woke up and met up with them, and then we hopped on a bike and went straight to Lio Beach. Lio Beach is like, I would say 20, 30 minutes away from El Nido. It's a pretty big beach, but unfortunately we couldn't really enjoy it all that much because a huge storm came by. But regardless, we stayed at this bar and we met a few other people there too who were doing the same thing. So after the skies cleared a little bit, we hopped on bikes and went straight to the next beach, which was the famous Nacpan Beach. Now Nacpan Beach is an incredibly expansive beach, and you can do so many activities there. You can dive, you can snorkel, you can fly your drone, you can ride ATVs. It was also at Nacpan Beach where we saw one of the most beautiful sunsets I have ever seen in my life. I mean, the clouds were just sort of like going off into the distance, and there was this opening where the sun was just sort of like bleeding through. It looked like the sun was just like setting the horizon on fire. And I got this one shot that was just absolutely incredible. We had these 2 random people in the back, I don't even know who they were. And I honestly have just never seen anything like it. And I was like, yes, that's the shot. That's going into the beginning of the video. Boom, right there. And so then we packed our stuff and went back to El Nido and spent our last night in Frendz Hostel, just hanging out, partying some more. We were going to different other bars. We did a little bit of karaoke too, and then we said bye to our friends at Frendz Hostel. For our 3rd night in El Nido, we went to this resort. Now, it was a 5-star resort, and it was nominated for so many awards. And so we were really excited for this because, I mean, it was our last night in the province, and we were like, all right, we need to splurge. We need to go all out for this. And so we stayed at the world famous Cauayan Island Resort. Now, Cauayan Island Resort, you can only get there using a boat. And I remember getting to the island and feeling just this deep sense of tranquility that I've never felt before. Each room is its own little hut with its own infinity pool. There's also a saltwater pool, there's a bar, there's an incredible restaurant, there's a lagoon where you can hang out, there's even a mountain that you can go and hike. And the staff members treat you like kings and queens. Like if you drop a napkin by accident, a staff member will immediately pick it up and give you a new one. I mean, this sort of service I have never seen before. And we were fortunate enough to stay in one of their pool villas, which overlooked the entire bay. So we dropped off our luggage at Cauayan, and then we went to our island hopping experience in El Nido. It was a lot different than Coron in a sense that El Nido was a lot more expansive. It was a lot more scattered, and I think the rock formations were a lot bigger too, but each location was incredibly beautiful in its own way. After our island hopping experience was over, we went straight back to the resort and we had an incredible dinner at the restaurant. And it was honestly kind of emotional because it was our last night in the provinces. Looking back, we went through so much in just a short amount of time, and I would not have traded it for anything. And so after Cauayan, we went straight back to Manila. And Manila was sort of like a different change of pace. So we had a few other options that we were gonna do. We were gonna go to Mount Pinatubo, either Mount Pinatubo or we were gonna go a little bit further up north. But I was like, you know, why don't we just stay in Manila and just chill? So we decided to go to Intramuros. Spain used to occupy Manila, and so there was a lot of Spanish influence in these buildings in Intramuros. And it honestly felt like we were in Spain a few times. And it was crazy because outside of Intramuros, there were multiple blocks where it was just full of people. I mean, people living in cardboard boxes, people living in tinfoil. But what was even more interesting was that people were coming up to say hi to us regardless of what we looked like or where we were from. People still smiled and they wanted to play with us and wanted us to come eat with them. And it really struck me because, you know, Nico was saying that a lot of these people have it really hard. And honestly, it would make anyone feel down on themselves, but it's part of the Filipino culture and just the atmosphere to, you know, smile and to be inviting. That's a part of the Philippines that I think will stick with me for a really long time. And honestly, it's a really good enough reason for me to come back. And so yeah, that was the experience I had in Coron, El Nido, and Manila. And I am beyond thankful for how this trip turned out. And so honestly, I really want to go back. But in the meantime, that wraps it up for the Philippines video breakdown episode series. And so thank you guys for sticking with me this far, and it's been an incredible journey. And so if you're new to the channel, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I will be releasing more content on the Philippines down the line, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, guys, thank you, salamat, and goodbye.